All right, so we start by finding our central point. And we're going to be doing the clavicle, the rotational point. And we're going to have the clavicle wide open. So this is going to be the arm in its backmost position. So in the overall process, as you're thinking about what your arm is going to be looking like, you have to act it all out and decide where is your arm going to be. So in this one here, I'm going to put the arm back into this position here, with the mental understanding that this is the key position for the shoulder. So once the shoulder swings back to this position here, it's then going to reverse and swing back forward to this position, but this is not the key position for the elbow. So when this then reverses and starts coming forward, I'm going to do my overlap by about 2 drawings, which means that this one will move from this position to this position to this position, 2 more drawings later. So if this is drawing number 1, it'll be drawing number 2, then 3 is actually the key position for the elbow in the backmost position. So on my number 3 drawing, I'm probably going to place the elbow somewhere back about here. Right? So this part here is still swinging back, this part here is coming forward, and then I have to figure out where am I going to put my elbow here, or sorry, not my elbow, my wrist. So in this, I'm going to drag the wrist back this way into that position, knowing that eventually as the arm swings, this part is going back to this position here as this advances forward, and this is going to continue back for 4 drawings. Right? So this will be drawing number 1, then I'll have drawing number 2, 3, and 4 will be the extreme position for that, and then I'm going to loop it and bring it out. So the path of action will look something similar to this on this back end. Right? So this will be drawing number 1, which is my key only for the shoulder. So we're going to have different types of timing charts for the different parts as we go through. So on this one here, because we're doing the 16 drawing cycle, we know automatically that our next key is going to be number 9. And the way we're going to set up our overall timing for the shoulder swinging back and forth was going to be a halfway, quarters, then eighths, and then the 16th. So we want to slow in and slow out on either side of this shoulder swing, so it's just going to rotate back and forth. So that means drawing number 2 is here, 3, 4, 5 is our halfway breakdown for the shoulder, 6, 7, 8. So what you can do up the top here is you can actually write in shoulder, just to clarify exactly what this timing chart is for. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my number 9 position, and you'll notice I've left the hand off. Okay, I'm going to leave the hand till the very end because I'm not exactly sure what position or path of action it's going to be in. So now I'm going to do my key number 9, which is going to be my forwardmost position for the shoulder. And again, I'm going to overlap, like I did with the previous lecture, I'm going to overlap the shoulder point with the center of the clavicle. So now my timing chart is going to be identical to the previous timing chart here. Halfway, 2 quarters, 2 eighths slowing in, and 2 16ths slowing in. So it goes 10, 11, 12, 13 is my breakdown, 14, 15, 16, and back into number 1. Okay, so again, this is just the shoulder. Now, I don't know what my forwardmost position is going to be in this drawing. All right, this is a forwardmost position for my shoulder, but I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go with the arm. So based on this one here, this was the point here that I was going to go back up to here 2 drawings later, and then it's going to swing forward. So I'm going to have this forward action come up like this. I could guesstimate that it might be somewhere around here, but you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it at this point. All right, I'm going to wait until I get my other drawings dropped in for my shoulder in betweens, and then I'm going to go in and do my secondary keys for my arms, right? Because I'm delaying everything, right? Shoulders are swinging back and forth on this timing here, but I'm delaying my elbow by 2 drawings. So therefore, my key for my elbow is drawing number 3, and for my forwardmost position, my key on the opposite side is going to be number 11. So I don't have 11 drawn. I'm not even going to draw it yet. I'm not going to guess where this arm is going to go. I might as well draw it when I do that in between. So at this point, we know for certain that from these 2 points here, this is where the shoulder is going to rotate to. So let's just drop our in-betweens in. All right? So we're going to do our major breakdowns first. Number 5 is the halfway point. So from here, figure out your path of action that you want it to follow. I'm going to do this down like this. The previous one I made it loop, and on this one what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it just go down, back and forth like this in a smiley face. So I'll put my next drawing, halfway position is going to be right here. So I find that clavicle point, connect it together. So now I'm just going to follow through with all the remaining in-betweens on this side. So I'll go from 1 to 5. My next in-between is going to be number 4, halfway in between these two. Number 3. Again, halfway in between. And then 2. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take number 5 to 9 and finish off this side. So my next in between is number 6. And 7. And the final one will be 8 on this side. Okay, so that finishes up the one side. Now I need to do the opposite side, from 9 back to 1. Because the main drawing that I need to get now is number 11, my overlapping action on the elbow. So from 9 you'll see the movement. It's just a modified pendulum swing, stiff pendulum swing, without any overlap to it. It simply swings down and then back up. Okay, so pretty straightforward. All right, so that's my shoulder action. So now I want to move on to my next key position, which is the elbow back, which is on drawing number 3, because I've chosen to delay each of these parts by 2 drawings. I can go in here now and key out my position for my elbow, which I sketched in as being here. So my elbow is going to move back to this position, and my shoulder is moving down and forward. So you can see how it's doing a teeter-totter effect there. So now I just connect my 2 points together. So there's the action for the elbow. All right, now again, I'm not going to put in what the arm is going to be, because I don't know exactly where it's going to be based on the overall action that's going to take place. So again, I'm going to wait until I get that position figured out. So now I'm going to swing it forward in the overall action, but what I can do, instead of worrying about the forward swinging action, I'm going to move to my next delayed position for the wrist, which my next key is going to be number 5. So by delaying everything by 2 frames, 1, 3, 5, this will be the drawing that I'm going to know where basically my wrist is going to go. But do I know where my elbow is going to go? Not really. But what I can do is I can sort of think about certain aspects of it, in that here's the shoulder action. So I'm just flipping through there. See how the shoulder action is coming down forward. My elbow has reached its backmost point. I could guesstimate as to where it's going to go based on the action that I want it to do. So it went from this position here to this position, here to here, and now I want it to move forward, but maybe I don't want it to move very much. So what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of a forward movement on it, so the 2 balls of the elbow are just touching each other. You can see the distance between these 2 here is greater, and this is smaller. So again, here's where we get into the theory of distance and speed. The greater distance you have, the faster it's going to move between those 2 frames. So this part here is moving faster than this part here, right? Because the distance is greater, this is less. So now that I've got that figured out, I can now put in my bicep line across here like this. And now I can determine where do I want my wrist to be in relation to all of that stuff. So what I can do is I can put my wrist back here. I mean, I can put it wherever I want. I'm just choosing to put it back at that position there. So that's going to be my key for my wrist. So now what I want to do is I want to loop everything forward. Now before I do that, here's what I want to do. I want to start to figure out my timing charts for my different parts. So on my elbow is my key position there on number 3. I'm going to draw a timing chart here. And because I'm going from 3, which is 2 drawings after number 1, my next key position is number 9 on the shoulder. I go 2 drawings beyond that, 10, 11. So my next key for the elbow is number 11 here. I'll just write elbow up here. And I want to follow basically the same type of timing. So I'm going to have a halfway, 2 quarters, and a slow in, and a slow out. So that means number 4 is here, 5, 6, 7 is my new breakdown drawing for the elbow, the halfway point, 8, 9, 10. So now I do the same thing on this one here for the wrist. From 5, remember 5 is the breakdown between 1 and 9. So the breakdown between 9 and 1 is 13. So 13 is my other key for the wrist. Again, halfway, quarters, slow in and slow out. So it'll be 6, 7, 8, 9 is my breakdown for the wrist, 10, 11, 12. Alright, so that gives me my action on this side here for this path that's taking place here. But I'm still left with the opposite side of this entire action here, where I don't know what's going to happen as my shoulder reaches its forward point and then it moves back. On drawing number 9, there's my forwardmost key position for the shoulder. If I follow the exact same theory of overlap that I have here, that means 2 drawings later is where my elbow is going to move to its highest point, right? Because if this was the farthest, or sorry, number 3, it was 2 drawings after number 1, that was the furthest back point of the elbow. If I follow the same theory of overlap of 2 drawings, 9 is my key position for my shoulder. So I go 2 drawings beyond that, 10, 11. I find my number 11 drawing here. There's 11. So from this, what's happening is the shoulder is coming back in this direction. I want to find the furthest forward point for my elbow on drawing number 11. I can put it anywhere I want, right? I can have my elbow here. I could have my elbow up here. I could put my elbow way up here if I wanted to. Okay, my elbow could go up above my head. It could be pointing straight up if I wanted it to, if that's the action that I want to have it taking place. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually, in this one here, I had it down here more. I'm going to push it way up here. So the elbow is going to go up, across, like that. Right? So timing chart wise, for my elbow, I'm going to go from 11, I'm going to do my in-betweens through like this, same as I would do for the other one, slow in, slow out. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3 is my opposite key, right? 3 is my other key to the back side, right? So going from here, I'm going to end up back there. From 3, going forward to this position, I want the same timing. So I need a timing chart over here. Well, actually, there is my timing chart right there. Sorry, I already got it. So now I know where my elbow is going to be based on the action that I've sort of described to myself in my head or by acting it out. I want it to be in that position. So now what I can do is I can go back and I can start to in between this. 3 to 11. Those are my 2 keys. So I can do my number 7 drawing, because that's halfway in between the 2. I find my number 7 shoulder.